Hello crypto cats, my name is Tom, I am the crypto investor and it's time for our weekly market roundup. As ever, we start with the heat map of the top 100 tokens in crypto and you can see that overall we are still green. This is 7 weeks in a row that the total market cap has increased. It's a little bit more of a checkered board. We do have the big boys, ETH and Bitcoin, up 6.3% or so each respectively. They have given back some of their gains after putting in another all-time high a couple of days ago. We've seen AVAX storming up another 24%. Now, what about like 12th by market cap, looking very good. Even Litecoin is doing well. For me, this is a bit of a mid-cycle top indicator, to be honest. When Litecoin's pumping, I start to get a little concerned. We've seen DOT giving back a little bit of their gains, as has Atom. Sol with a bit of a dodgy week after the FUD about the team having more tokens. We'll talk about that in a bit. But, you know, overall, okay, we're getting balanced. Shiba is down a little bit. Overall, we continue to march on up. Let's look at the bubbles. All right, so I don't know what ALT is. I don't know what IOTX is. These are new. I guess they've just jumped into the top 100 today on the back of their pump this week. Loopring continues to look very strong on the back of their collaboration with GameStop. KDA, we talked about it last week. Hopefully some of you added a bag. It was up 200% last week, another 100% this week. So hopefully many of you bought some of that and have benefited from this new emerging layer one. Can they deliver all their promises? We will see, but it's quite an exciting token to be holding. And yeah, generally, we're looking pretty good. All right, let's get into the news pieces. Well, first, let's just have a look at layer one. Oh, and by the way, if you do like the content, please hit the like button. Please do subscribe. Please do comment. You write such nice comments, and I really appreciate the feedback you give me. It is most gratifying to see. Looking at layer two, we're now up to 5.2 billion locked in layer two on Ethereum. This is Ethereum scaling in real time. This is what we want to see. This number going up shows that that Ethereum is emerging as not just decentralized, not just secure, but scalable. This is where scalability comes from. But most of the numbers this week have been pushed by Loopring. Its price has gone up in value and it counts for 77% of the TVL of Loopring. So in fairness, actually, it's a fairly flat week in layer two. But Loopring has made it look like quite a nice week with a 6% overall move. And Ethereum continues to be ultrasound, only just up a tiny bit in supply. We're still sitting at 117.7 million tokens. As I said, the burn is now as much as the print, and it's unlikely we'll ever get to 120 million. We will be deflationary. Well, we are basically deflationary now, and we'll become extremely deflationary once we get that merge in March, April time. The big news this week is more macro news events that the consumer prices, basically the inflation gauge, has hit 6.2%. The highest analyst estimate was something like 5.7%. This number really shocks people, and it shows that the transitory inflation that the Fed are presenting is looking increasingly like it's not transitory. Once this news dropped, we saw Bitcoin and Ethereum hit all-time highs within an hour. That was that big pump, I think it was on Wednesday. Gold also flying, any hedge against inflation, any commodity doing very well on the back of this. But, you know, starting to get quite concerning, really. 6.2%. That means if your money is in the bank, it halves in value every 11 years. And we're not expecting the next print to be lower. Most people think that we may even see like 6.5%, 7% next month. So inflation's starting to look quite concerning. And, you know, nicely illustrated here by, in the past 12 months, 40% of the US dollars in existence were printed, but since August 5th, 862,000 ETH have been burnt. We're not the same. And, you know, to be holding ETH and valuing it in US dollars is to be short the US dollar and long on people, technology, and innovation. And I know which side I'm on. Strap in. So this week, on the back of that, as a catalyst, the total market cap of all the crypto combined hit $3 trillion. Another massive milestone for crypto. And talking of milestones, this is the years to reach a $500 billion valuation. So, you know, Apple took 35 years to get to $500 billion, Amazon 23, Tesla 17. Of course, money has gone down in value, so it's not a fair estimate. But what's amazing is when you look at the record speed of this, Bitcoin took 11.9 years to get to $500 billion. Ethereum's just done it in 5.8 years, half the speed of Bitcoin. Incredible to see. And this is because compared to back here, you've now got network effects on top of networks. So you now have like the internet to proliferate an idea and then something sitting on top. And it just shows like how much, the insatiable demand for an asset for it to go up to $500 billion in this speed. It's the fastest ever of any asset. It shows, we're on the right side of the market to be holding these assets. We touched on Reddit adopting a layer 2 Ethereum for their social media. Come on, words. And I don't think I really expressed enough. So there's 180 million Ethereum addresses worldwide, and Reddit has half a billion users. So once they effectively have their Karma, their tokens within Reddit, as a cryptocurrency, effectively, as a Reddit token built on Ethereum layer 2, that will triple the number of Ethereum addresses. It's huge. It's huge. It's such a massive adoption. And just think about, how when you gild people with gold or little items, they will be NFTs. All of this will be redeemable for cash. It incentivizes good content. Reddit have nothing to lose. They have no existing income, a very small existing income stream to cannibalize. Whereas someone like Facebook, they're bringing in huge amounts of revenue for advertising. Reddit have always prioritized their integrity of quality as an experience for their end users and never monetize their users much. And so that's why they've been able to move so nimbly and quickly to being effectively the first web-free social media platform. Really exciting to see this. I love it. I always love Reddit, and yeah, love them even more for making this kind of bold move. Bullish as fuck. Miami is basically giving a Bitcoin yield to its citizens. Not just Miami, but New York are making the same noises as well. Further reason why it's very unlikely that we will see banning of this, particularly of course because once China bans it, the US have to be the bastion of freedom. But we're seeing further rollout from major cities. It's increasingly entrenched within local government. This is basically what you're looking at here is long-term holders of Bitcoin. So this is wallets that have held Bitcoin, I think it's for over 150 days. It could be longer, forgive me, and I'm also missing the lower axis. But what you're looking at here, that's the 2017 peak of Bitcoin, and this is the price now. And you can see what we have here in green is when the older addresses are accumulating Bitcoin, and when it's red, that's when they're selling it. And normally, and why I'm sharing this with you is because they have been accumulating aggressively once we had that recent dip down to 30,000. But we just got a first print of the net amount of old addresses selling Bitcoin, which is, of course, somewhat bearish, but typically it actually is a bullish indicator for a big move. So once they begin that offloading, it's also when the dumb money, if you will, the kind of wetter behind the ears investors are accumulating. And that means that we tend to get 2-3 months of explosive growth. I mean, if you look at it here, growth, it tends to be when you get really nice big price surges in Bitcoin and the total crypto space. Many people think if we obviously follow Plan B's stock to flow model, then we are forecast to hit $200,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. That's 6 weeks away. That's extremely ambitious. It's not impossible. This is crypto. I'm not expecting it. But what we're seeing here is perhaps the first indicator that we maybe have 2 to 3 months until we put in a cycle peak. It's hard to know. For me, it's, no one can time the market. No one exactly gets the top, exactly gets the bottom. For me, the best thing to do is, during bear markets, we dollar cost average. We accumulate on a weekly, monthly basis, and the same should be with the market tops. Or when you are kind of entering into this parabolic phase, that's when you're just dollar cost averaging out of your position. So you take an average exit. No one can time it perfectly. So I think that's kind of interesting. Bullish news, Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, says that he owns, I think it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Obviously, it's just further gratification for the space. It's not the word I wanted. But what is really interesting is that Apple are the most cash-rich company in the world, and the second most valuable company in the world, but they have the most money on their books. They hold $260 billion in cash. $260 billion. And, we just saw that is being eroded by 6.2% per year. They're losing $130 billion every 11 years. So makes you wonder if they are going to do something about that. We just had some bearish news that the Van Eck Bitcoin ETF was rejected by the SEC yesterday. And most people expected this, hence why the market didn't sell off. But, it looks, I don't know, we have other spot ETFs out there for approval. I think ProShares and another one. But yeah, most people expected this one not to be accepted, and sadly it was not. Disney announced their earnings this week. They also said, we're building a metaverse as well. So think of a digital Disneyland. They're also selling NFTs of, I can't remember what it is, Mickey Mouse and cars and all sorts of stuff. They didn't release good earnings. Their stock dropped 7% on the day. But it's just another company. We've got Facebook, we've got Microsoft, we've got Nike, we've got Disney. They're all metaverse hungry and mad. How long until they announce the L1 that they plan to build upon and start accumulating assets within it? It's just what makes me feel I'm much more of a super cycle focused investor on this, is because all of these companies are looking at areas that they can find profit to add to their bottom line for their earnings reports. And if they can say, this quarter we achieved 350% digital growth in our NFT space, investors like that, banks like that. And so this is why it's kind of self-fulfilling that it has this built-in incentive mechanism to propagate crypto. All right. You may have, hopefully you had a ENS domain name, .eth, and you received the airdrop this week. We talked about that last week. I did. Thank you very much, ENS. Excellent project. The word on the street is that MetaMask will be doing a token of their own, Mask, and the best way that you can give yourself a red hot chance of qualifying for this airdrop is to do a swap using their wallet. So you go on your MetaMask and you'll see swap, and you can swap tokens on there. They charge a commission like 0.85% or so. That's why I don't generally use it, but if you use it, then there's a very good chance that will qualify you for a retroactive airdrop. Now, gas prices, of course, are prohibitively expensive, like $150 per transaction, but you can use it on Polygon and pay like, 10 cents or so. So connect your MetaMask to Polygon, go to the swap function, make a transfer, and hopefully sit back and receive a retroactive airdrop. Always be very aware of phishing. This is just Harry sharing. Look, you see this on Twitter, uniswap.org, correct domain. You click on this, you think you're going to Uniswap. No, it takes you to Harry Denley's website. And this is just an example of how easy it is to be phished. You see domains like this. Always double check things after you click on them, confirm that the domain is correct. Look out for tiny little typos. And never, ever, ever put your seed phrase in. Phishing will, the only way to get phished is when you enter your seed phrase. Or you're doing a send and you send it to a false address. But mostly it's giving your seed phrase away. So just never put your seed phrase in. Banksy is doing an auction at Sotheby's, but he requested that the auction was undertaken with bids in ETH. So Banksy obviously is looking to accumulate ETH. And what's kind of cool is that you're going to have the auctioneer saying, can I have 5 Ethereum? Can I have 10 Ethereum? Can I have 15 Ethereum? It's just interesting. It's just some kind of cool to see. Again, another area of adoption. Banksy is bullish on ETH. This was that Solana FUD I was mentioning. So in early 2020, April, Solana team stated that there was a circulating supply of 8.2 million. Turns out there was actually 20 million Solana in circulating supply. There was a number of I think liquidity pools or such where there was more Solana. So we found out that effectively there is 11.8 million more Solana in circulation than before. So the price did take a bit of a drop. It also brings into question integrity of the team. Whether it was an honest mistake, I don't know. I doubt it. So yeah, just, I've been bullish on Solana for a while, but I did say once it got up to 4th place by market cap, that was rich enough for me. I think that the asymmetrical risk is not as good. I'm still holding some Solana, but okay, we're 5th now. It's just been overtaken by Tether, but it's basically up here. I wanted it to overtake Cardano. It has, but I think the asymmetrical risk isn't so great anymore. So I'm offloading a bit. Still bullish on Solana, but my God, it's had 11,500% year. Taproot, so Bitcoin has its long anticipated upgrade this weekend. I don't actually hold any Bitcoin myself. Not that I'm bearish on it, I just think that that Ethereum represents a equally good store of wealth and has greater upside potential. But anyway, Bitcoin is rolling out Taproot. Bitcoin is obviously essential to the whole health of the total space. It is 43% of the total market cap. Anyway, this is an upgrade which will improve security and speed. Obviously, it's not going to be adding smart contracts, but it's meant to be an excellent upgrade, one of the biggest upgrades for Bitcoin. And so we hopefully will see a decent lift in price on the back of the Taproot upgrade going ahead successfully this weekend. Let's jump into the charts. Where are my charts? There's my charts. All right, so looking and starting with the total market cap of crypto. As I said, we are green for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 weeks in a row. In fact, we have pulled back a little bit after touching $3 trillion. Selling off a bit there, now down to $2.82 trillion, but still up on the week. And long may this march on. We obviously can't. This is a fairly impressive consecutive amount of growth, and it's, many people will be looking at taking a bit of profit around here. It's unlikely that we're going to get many more consecutive green weeks. I'm not calling for a crash whatsoever, but it may be that, the last time we had this many green weeks in a row, you may print a red candle and hey, hopefully off we go. But we are due a little bit of a slowdown perhaps. But that all said and done, you compare, say, Ethereum's move back in, God, it looks so tiny now, but you look at 2017 when we went parabolic, and that at the time was madness. And then you look at what we're doing right now, and you can see that, okay, but what we are doing is basically this kind of non-parabolic, nice channel upwards. It's fairly easy going. It's not mania. We're not printing these big green multi-$1,000 dildos right now. This feels sustained at the moment. We haven't lost this channel. And we're just coming back up to 4,700 right now, which is nice to see. What I've been looking at as we've held this channel now for 45 days, there's been these moments where we basically form these flags, so you get flagpole, and then we come back down, and then as and when we break those, that tends to be when we put the next leg up. So you can see this pattern repeating itself here, 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 slightly different here, but I think we're just about to break that line. And I would say, right now is quite a nice time to be adding to Ethereum. I expect this to be another test towards the all-time high. I wouldn't be surprised by Monday if we're getting towards 48.50 or so. We can expect significant psychological resistance at that 5,000 line. So perhaps we are going to see some resistance there. But it's looking good. I think we make a play at 5,000 this week, and maybe that's where we turn around for a few weeks or so. Skipped over Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, much the same. It's not quite the same kind of channel, but we are holding this line very nicely. We put in that new all-time high at 69,000. I was expecting 69,420 to be where the real sell wall was, but yeah, we've since come back down a bit, but just channeling up quite nicely as well, looking pretty healthy. In fact, we could probably clone this and get, oops, wrong one. Clone this and yeah, there's an argument. There's an argument for this kind of channel that we are in right now for Bitcoin. But looking healthy, as I said, not parabolic, fairly sustained, good growth. Looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, we had 3 weeks in a row where Ethereum had outpaced Bitcoin. So far this week, it is just down on the week, but we are coming into this resistance. Ethereum's dominance as well is coming into that crucial 20% resistance there as well, which we failed to get past really since May this year. So it's not surprising that that's where you see people flipping a bit of Bitcoin, Ethereum into Bitcoin. It's only a matter of time until we do take it out. Looking at DeFi, up versus the US dollar, has given back some of its gains, versus Ethereum, the most depressing chart in crypto, actually has managed to, we have had 2 consecutive up weeks for DeFi 1.0 that is, versus Ethereum. They're modest as fuck, but they are there. There is some life in DeFi versus Ethereum. We will see. Maybe we are putting in a bottom. Not holding my breath. Where's MVI gone? I've lost a chart. 1 second. Hang in there, crypto cats. MVI. So this is the Metaverse Index. Wow. This is versus Ethereum, so extremely hard to perform versus Ethereum, but MVI, the Metaverse Index, which you can buy on Polygon. So this is, everything from Axie Infinity to Sand to Mana. Great index. It's like an ETF of the Metaverse, continuing to do very well. A lot of investment coming into this space. Solana, as I said, down for the week, but still, still channeling up nicely, still looking very healthy. Maybe it moves up with the rest of the broader market. Luna, beautiful, 4th consecutive week in a row. Did top out at 54.7, now down to 51.4, but still looking really good. A solid token to have in anyone's portfolio. It is now deflationary. We were looking at Cardano and the fact that it had broken this channel in its dominance. It did look like it was going to have a up week. It has since given back most of those gains in dominance, and Cardano continues to look fairly weak. And that is it. I'm off to meet Fiskantes, one of the creators of Ohm, I believe, for coffee. He randomly replied to my tweet. I run a desert island survival business. I take people to desert islands. I don't know if I've told you that, Crypto Cats. DesertIslandSurvival.com. Anyway, Fiskantes is keen, so I'm off to meet him for coffee. And that's it. Thanks for staying around to the end. Happy investing, everyone, and I will speak to you soon. All the best. Next time I'm in Lisbon, I'll be in Thailand next time I speak to you. Cheers.